Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Sumukascha Yekadantascha Kapilo Gajakarnakaha Lambodharascha Vikato Vignarajo Vinayakaha Dhrumaketur Ganadhyakshaha Palachandro Gajananaha Vakratundaha Sutpakarno Herambaha Skandapurvagaha Sutlam Baradharam Vishnum Sativaradam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopasantaye Yasya Viradavakradhyat Parishadhyat Parastatam Vighnam Vighyanti Satatam Vishvaktenam Tamastraye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheswaraha Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Akrishtakarine Namo Vedanta Vedhyaya Gurave Buddhisakshine Krishnadvaipaya Namjasam Sarvabhuta Hite Ratam Vedabjabhaskaram Vande Samadhi Nilayam Munim Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devi Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Janmadhyasya Yataha Anvayate Yataratascha Artheshu Abhignaha Sparat Tene Brahma Hridayah Adikavaye Mukhyanti Yat Surayah Tejovari Murdam Yatha Vinimayo Yat Pratritadvo Brisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirastakuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Dharmahat Prochita Kaitavotra Paramo Nirbhat Saranam Satam Vedyam Vastavam Atravakta Sivadam Tapatrayo Nulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krute Kimva Paranisvaraha Sadhyo Hridi Avarudhyatehe Atra Krutivihi Sutrushivihi Sakshanat Nikama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam Sukhamukat Amrtad Dravasam Yutam Pipat Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuravo Rasikaha Bhuvi Bhavukaha. Now, Bhagavan's grace, let us continue from where we left off. We came up to Slokam 34 in Adhyayam 28, Skandham 3. Now, I must tell you truthfully, as Swami says, always speak from your experience, not from your mind, not from intelligence, not to your understanding. Whatever you know to be true is what you should always speak with others, and that is the command and instruction I have taken from him to the best of my ability. These slokangas, that teachings that Kapila Bhagavan is teaching, is something I have not experienced. The one that now he is talking about is the Amanaska state in Slokam 35, Amanaska, which is the story of Parikshit that we were blessed to partake in our last session. That when Parikshit realizes this is what the mind does, and he says the mind has left me. Now, that is at that point, what is happening? How does the sadhaka, the yogi, experiences Bhagavan? That is what is described here in Slokam 35. Just as a flame in a lamp burns only so long as its sustenance, the oil is there, then the flame extinguishes. In the same way, for the mind, the sustenance is the attachment to the materialistic world. That's all. Attachment that is drawn through and perpetuated through and strengthened through and reinforced through every minute by the senses. Once that attachment completely goes away, then the mind extinguishes. Then, at that point, Bhagavan, the drashtam stage comes in. He really sees, for a lack of a better word, that's the way we translate in English, which is very extremely deficient. Then, beyond that, there is ahamkaram. When that ahamkaram also leaves, then the sayujyam takes place. That ahamkaram aspect is, Swami teaches that in the next slokam in 36, in 35, the stage that describes when there is no mind. As Bhagavan says, mind is extremely crystal clear. Right in the beginning, when I was made, Bhagavan gave me two things. An unsullied, pure hridayam, that is nothing but limitless prema. Then a mind that is so pure and crystal clear, there is no dirt at all in it. So clear it is. And the Atma Jyoti, the effulgence of the prema that is in the hridayam, transmits, radiates, and spreads through my mind to the outside world. That is all that happened. But then my mind became slowly, it started getting dirtier and dirtier and dirtier. And it started losing its stillness and started becoming vacillating and moving from point to point all the time. And so much so, it completely lost sense of who I am. That is ignorance. So it is like right now, every piece of dirt in my mind is a desire, selfish desire. So much it is occupied that it has become opaque. It is not transmitting the effulgence that is from within. And in this process, all the selfishness that have grown has completely taken me away from my own self. And I continue to believe stronger and stronger and stronger that I am this body, I am this mind, because that's what I'm acting upon. What I practice is what I become stronger in. This is what I'm practicing, the wrong practice. So the mind gets covered with a dark cloth of ignorance. So the Atma Jyoti, it cannot shine at all. Mind is moving from place to place. It is extremely dirty and polluted, and it is not clear at all. On top of that, it is covered by this black light-stopping cloth of ignorance. These are the three things that are happening to my mind. Now, when the desires vanish, the mind becomes crystal clear. And because desire becomes zero, the mind becomes so pure that all it does is transmit without the slightest hindrance the full majesty and the brilliance of the Atma Jyoti of Prema. That is Amanaska state. Okay? And that is what is described here in Slokam 35. Muktasrayam Erhi Nirvishayam Viraktam Nirvanam Richati Manaha Sahasa Yatharchihi Atmanam Atra Purushaha Avyavadhanam Ekam Anvikshate Pratidivritta Guna Pravahaha. Once the attachment to the material world becomes zero, what can the Prakriti do? Right? What can the Gunangal do? Everything vanishes. Okay? Muktasrayam Erhi Nirvishayam Viraktam Nirvanam Ruchati Manaha Sahasa Yatharchihi Atmanam Atra Purushaha Avyavadhanam Ekam Anvikshate Pratidivritta Guna Pravahaha. So we will go through the padangal and then we'll put it in some order so we can try and understand. And again, this is something that I cannot speak from my experience, and that Bhagavan will take care. Okay, he will make sure that both you and I learn. Muktasrayam, Asrayam. Remember, the word Asrayam simply means, Bhagavan says, what is his favorite, what is the most, we say Bhagavan is the strongest, the most knowledgeable, omniscient, omnipotent, etc., etc. No, those things are nothing. The most important aspect, there are 10 aspects in Bhagavatam. The 10 aspects that make Bhagavatam. We have covered this before. The most important aspect that Swami himself says is Asreya, the protection, the succor, the automatic giving of succor. The moment I think of Rama, I become comfortable. The moment I think of Krishna, I become comfortable. The moment I recall the Parikshit story, I become comfortable. I become protected, assured. That succor, that Asrayam, Mukta Asrayam, that means now completely, this before we come to Mukta, because Mukta Asrayam means protection that is granted by freedom. Freedom from what? We have to see that. So, I will start taking this in proper order so we understand it in English. Yarhi, yaha hi, yarhi. Yarhi means when. At this point, yarhi, when. Manaha nirvishayam muktasrayam. Manaha, the mind. Nirvishayam. Nirvishayam is Vishayam is actually Visham, putting it in another way. All the Vishayangal, whatever we think of, talk of, imagine, even the so-called most good activity, good thoughts, whatever it may be, okay, they are Visham only, they are poison only. Why? Because they take my mind. At that instant, I am thinking about that Vishayam. That instant, it takes me away from Bhagavan. Yes or no? Think. Now, if I'm focusing only on doing the puja, Om Kesavaya Namaha, now I have to say all this. At that time, am I really thinking of Bhagavan? Think. So, everything in this materialistic world, in this created world, the moment I focus on that created world, whatever it may be, that focus on that, I'm not focusing on Bhagavan. In that sense, all Vishayangal are poisonous. Nirvishayam, detached, without the attachment to the sense objects. Sense objects includes all the 10 senses and the mind that follows it. Please remember that. Okay, even wanting to do puja, wanting to recite Sahasranamam, that is a mind activity, a desire that focuses in. Then I'm focusing on, I must recite Sahasranamam, but do I really think about the Bhagavan who's glorified, propitiated, worshipped in all these 1,000 and odd names? Think. So this is very important. Now in the recitation of the 1,000 names, at one name, by chance, by Bhagavan's blessing, if I really picture Bhagavan in that, imagine Bhagavan and experience him through that name, then I made it. Then that is no longer poison, that is actually panacea. So, nirvishayam yarhi manaha nirvishayam muktaha, when the mind is freed from the attachment to all the sense objects, all the created world, okay, muktaha, free from it, ashrayam, protected, living under the shade of that protection of that freedom, then viraktam, at this point, viraktam means indifferent. Virakta means not bothered, not even, that doesn't even touch me, so to speak. As my favorite example I've always given you from my own experiences, is several times, is walking through the Frankfurt airport. So many times I've done that, and there are so many shops there, and my eye sees all this, but I am not touched. I'm indifferent to it. So that is viraktam. Your ears may hear something, but you are not touched by it. That is viraktam. Smell, the same way the skin, the same way the taste that I have. So many things hit me. But if I'm not touched by it, that is viraktam, without attachment. So here mind is without attachment on all the bombardments of the various sense objects, bombard my senses all the time. They do that. That is their job. Senses and sense objects will only interact. That is their assigned job. They do it without fail. Okay, to a large degree. As they grow older, my sense tools of sense perception, not the power behind it. But the tool is becoming weaker and weaker due to either longevity of usage or misuse or abuse. That is another story. But the attraction between the interplay between the sense and the sense object always will be there. That is divine law. But the mind doesn't have to follow that attraction. It is removed from it. That is nirvishayam viraktam muktaha asrayam. Imagine that state is unbelievably peaceful. Peace is where protection is, asrayam is. That is under the shade of Bhagavan. Truly, truly. At that point, sahasa, immediately, instantly, when that happens through all the procedures such described by Bhagavan at this stage, at this point I've come, sahasa, immediately, archihi yatha. Archihi means flame. Yatha, in which way? That's all in Sanskrit, that's all they will give. Upamanam is given not in a big paragraph. Just one word, you can understand what Upamanam is. What is he saying? In which way the flame? What happens to the flame? When the flame is extinguished, the flame disappears when its sustenance, which is the oil finished, the flame also vanishes, disappears. Same way here, the mind, the sustenance is the attachment to the various sense objects. But when I'm indifferent to it and completely decoupled from it, that mind, the sustenance is gone. And the mind itself vanishes. That's the meaning. Yatha archihi. Nirvanam manaha nirvanam richati. Richati, attains, arrives at. Nirvanam. Nirvanam. Okay? Such a word we have used so many times. We say Nirvanam, Buddha attained Nirvanam and all this. Nirvanam richati means, Nirvanam simply means ceases to be. Okay? Ceases to be, completely extinguished. Richati, that state the mind attains. So, putting this in the Sanskritam fashion, the way we can understand in English, Yarhi manaha nirvishayam mukta asrayam viraktam. When the mind freed from all the material, the created attractions, the creation is not Bhagavan. Remember, we always spoke about it. We must always look for the Creator. If I look at the creation, the Creator hides behind. When I look at the Creator, the creation hides behind. It vanishes. So, the Nirvishaya means the whole creation. Yanki manaha nirvishayam muktaha, when it is freed from the creation, asrayam, beautifully reveling in that peaceful experience, unbelievable amount of peace, viraktam, absolutely, the senses are acting, but the mind is not at all concerned with it. They don't touch the mind. At that sahasa, at that time, yata archihi, the same way a flame extinguishes, the manaha nirvanam richati, it also is extinguished. The mind disappears. Okay, mind ceases to be. Imagine the state. All our sufferings and restlessness and stress and everything is caused by our mind only. Our illnesses, everything, imaginations, life, so many things is only in our mind. The mind is not there. Beautiful. What is it? Then can one even begin to describe it? That's what Richati. Atra Purushan Prati Nivrataha Guna Pravaha. Vyavadhanam Ekam Atmanam Anvikshate. Okay. At this point, atra, then, in this avasthai, in this experience, awareness, consciousness, whatever English word we put, avasthai, okay, yatra, at atra, at that experience, that bhavam, okay, purushaha, this yogi, this sadhaka, okay, this purushan, prati nivritaha guna pravaha vyavadhanam. Purushaha, not vyavadhanam, pravaha avyavadhanam. That's what it should be. That's why it didn't make sense. Purushaha avyavadhanam ekam. Okay. Now, let's take it. Prati nivritaha guna pravaha. Prati nivritaha, freed from, without. Nivrita means Prati nivritaha means zero. It's not there. Okay, nothing is growing out of it. To translate it etymologically, so it's completely. So for all of us, why our life continues and continues and continues, we're not able to break the chain at all, because of our gunangal. And gunangal are characteristic traits, which we talked about, basically three gunangal, tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic. Based upon all my the good actions and the bad actions, the beneficial actions and the non-beneficial actions, all the things I have done, I have thought through, I've spoken, I've actually physically done in all my previous births and in my current birth, determines my prakriti, my natural tendencies. That is why your gunangal may be different from mine. They are dominant gunangal. Some may be more active, some may be lazy, some may be more sattvic, some are easily given to misunderstanding, some are more forgiving. How does these things happen? This is the result of the previous actions. So that continuous chain, continuously impelling and pushing and pulling me, that is guna pravaham in our life. Pratinivritaha, completely freed from it, completely ceases to be. Okay? Avyavadhanam ekam. Avyavadhanam, that is not vyavadhanam, avyavadhanam. Now, without feeling separate. This is a beautiful experience of Swami Bhagavan. Without feeling separate from him, okay, how will the bhavam, how will the experience be? At the same time, I realize I'm seeing something, so the ahamkaram is still there, the separation is there. But that overflowing experience of prema, abhyavadhanam, ekam atmanam, this one entity that is within himself. Only one entity, that is the prema, selfless, indescribable and most expansive. It is blissful, peaceful, whatever word we want to call it, it's beyond that. And that ekam atmanam, that bhavam, that experience from within, anvikshate. This is beautiful. Vikshate means to perceive, to see. Anvikshate means that is following me. Now the experience is, instead of feeling I am this santam, I am this bliss, I am this prema, the experience is such that this one entity that he experiences as if that is enveloping him in all directions. He feels that he is immersed in it, above, below, behind, on my side, inside, outside, everywhere. It is enveloping him. He is immersed in it. That's the experience that he gets. The ekam atmanam anvikshate. Muktasrayam yalhi nirvishayam virattam nirvanam ruchyati manaha sahasa yatha archihi. Atmanam atra purushaha avyavadhanam ekam anvikshate pratinivritta guna pravaha. Freed from all the sense objects, freed from the creation, and not bothered with it, indifferent to it, still in the world but not of the world, and completely decoupled from the impulses of the gunas, experiences the immersion in this one indescribably most expansive ocean of prema, of love. No selfishness at all. That amanaska stage, as it's called in Bhagavatam, is the description here. Muktasrayam herhi nirvishayam viraktam nirvanam ruchyati manaha sahasa yatharchihi. Atmanam atra purushaha avyavadhanam ekam anvikshate pratinivritta guna prabhavaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Santit Santit Santit. Harihi Om.